Então, rapaziada, sejam muito bem-vindos ao episódio extra do Depois do Crime. Dessa vez a gente está aqui com um convidado diferente, né, Gold?
Edição especial.
Edição especial do Gold do Mylon falando inglês, gastando tudo que a gente tem no pente com o Coach Seel. So, Chris, how you doing, man?
Good, good. Is it going to be subtitled?
Yes.
Because I went on the MD3 and it wasn't subtitled, and then they were just like angry about it.
Complaining.
Yeah, that's why we're not doing it live.
Yeah.
Like, we're recording. A gente tá gravando na segunda-feira e daí isso daqui vai ser postado provavelmente na sexta-feira. Provavelmente entre o Passa-Call e o Gasp da semana. Será que eu acertei? Não sei. Você está vendo agora, então você sabe.
That's
but
why
yeah.
we're better than MD3.
No, it's not a competition, dude. But yeah, we just decided that we should do the Depois do Crime today, and then afterwards we do an extra episode. So that's where we are. By the way, how much Portuguese do you know right now?
Portuguese. I mean, I'm still a beginner. I took lessons 3 to 5 times a week throughout the split.
Okay.
And then in playoffs, I didn't have time, so I just cancelled everything and focus on
the game.
Yeah.
So you're probably around Minerva's level.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, something.
Ezinhas, maybe Ezinhas level.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude came to Brazil when he was 14. He's Japanese, and he came when he was 14, 15. So he never learned everything, you know. That's why we joke a bit.
Who?
Eza. Yeah.
Eza. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But man, I want to know honestly, like we want to do this conversation here. So not only we talk about League of Legends and about Pain versus Loud, which is happening right now, you know, tomorrow. I want to know more about you. Like, I want to know how you came to the scene, how you started playing, and I mainly want to know, like, where are you from? Are you from Australia? Were you born in Korea? Let's start there.
Right. Where I'm from?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved to Australia when I was 4 years old. So it was 2001.
Okay, you were born in South Korea.
I was born in South Korea, Seoul, South Korea. Yeah. And I was raised by 2 Korean parents, but my father and mother split. So that's the reason I moved to Australia.
Oh, okay.
And I attended school from primary all the way to college in Australia. So, and I'm also an Australian citizen. So my English is obviously like my primary language.
Okay.
And then I would fly to Korea quite often in my youth. So I speak Korean as well.
Oh, okay. And how fluent are you in Korean? Like perfect Korean or just?
I wouldn't say perfect, but I would say native fluency. It just depends, because if I don't speak Korean for a long time, I forget some words and pronunciation becomes difficult. But after a week or 2, it's normally fine.
Okay.
Did your mother or father go to Australia?
Mother.
Okay, and your father stayed in Korea?
Yeah.
Why is Australia?
Well, she was deciding between Australia and the United States. And we decided in Australia because the cost of living at the time was much cheaper. Like the Australian dollar was quite low at the time, you know. So we went there.
But she went out to make a living, or was because of the job?
I think it was personal, from my understanding, just personal reasons of wanting a new environment, but also education. Just wanted to have kids that could speak 2 languages, I guess.
But she knew English already?
No, she doesn't speak English.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so she only spoke Korean at home, and she tried to learn English, but I guess if you don't dedicate yourself to a language, I think it's very hard.
And you're an only child?
No, I have 1 sister.
All right.
So we have 2 kids between the 2 parents, no stepchildren.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's different. Like, you just go to another country and then, you know?
And how did you meet League of Legends to Seel? No?
League of
how
Legends.
Were
did
you gaming since like the early days? Like, I started playing when I was like 2-3 years old.
Normal video games, like.
My mother got me a Super Nintendo. And then they would teach me how to play Super Mario. But it was just a baby. I don't know how it went, you know?
Yeah. Well, I was definitely a gamer. I enjoyed gaming. When I was younger, I got a hand-me-down. So like my sister got a Game Boy for her birthday. a Game Boy Advance for a birthday, and then I got that as a hand-me-down a few years later. So I played some Pokemon Ruby and I think it was Sapphire at the time, Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald. And then I also really enjoyed watching Brood War, like StarCraft 1. But that was only when I went to Korea because it would be on TV and public broadcast, so you could watch it. But yeah, my parents were both really strict around video games. I actually come from a very academic family. My father is the black sheep of the family. He's the only one that didn't finish university. Like my auntie is like, one is a doctor and the other one is a math professor at a pretty famous university in Korea. And then my uncles are like all like economics doctors or like law professors at SNU, Seoul National University. I think he's retired now actually. So because of that, they wanted me to have a good education. My sister's also a lawyer, so I wasn't really allowed to play games growing up. Obviously, you enjoy it because your friends all play video games, right? But yeah, I didn't really play at a high level, and I started League of Legends in 2013 with my high school friends in the final year of high school. I was 17 at the time, and I was bronze 5. I would play on a laptop. I would start the game. It'd be like 12 minutes in, and I'd be like, "Oh, I have to go to school." I'd Alt F4 and go to school. You know, it was like this.
Okay. So casual player.
Definite casual player. Complete dog shit. Yeah, complete dog shit. And then I didn't really play League of Legends seriously until I think 2018.
Yeah, I mean, everyone started bad. I remember like first season I played LoL. It was 2011, and it was season 1 actually, right?
Yeah.
And I remember that I really wanted the gold skin because when you reach gold, you get the victorious skin. And
maybe Jarvan or Janna.
I think it was Jarvan, and I didn't achieve that. I couldn't. I was stuck in silver. And then on the season 2. I remember that my life was basically like I had to study and I had to exercise because my parents, they were very strict about that. Like, okay, you want to play? You're going to play. But your grades have to be the best and you have to be exercising and etc. And then I got to Diamond, which was like the highest skill. And then 3 accounts and, well, there we go, you know. Just started having interest in the game. How come you took so long to really get the passion to put the time, you know?
I don't know why I'm in esports to this day, to be honest. I have a very complicated kind of story, I guess. I started off as a law justice student, and then I changed my field to economics and finance. And then in the 3rd year, I did an internship at a company called Sprinklebit.com. I don't know if it's still around. It was a Wall Street it was based in Wall Street by a Swedish guy.
You were in Australia.
I was in Australia, but I got myself an internship by like, you know, using that site every day and asking questions. And I basically like got into good faith with the owner, the CEO of the company. And he had just done, I think, a $14 million pre-seed raise or something at the time, right? As a startup company. So I was like, that's really cool. I want to be a part of this. I always had like a entrepreneurial heart. So I got an internship there and then I finished and then I like looked at myself and I thought, well, I'm not the best looking. I don't come from, let's be real. I don't come from a wealthy family or a prestigious family. You know, I don't have the best education. I'm definitely not the smartest. I know that. I didn't enjoy studying. So if you want to live a good life, then you need to do something different.
Yeah.
You need to do something different and you need to have a niche. So then I started to look for the niche, and that's kind of where I looked at esports, where I thought, well, this industry is growing 100% year by year. So let's try to be a part of that. So initially I was thinking, you know, business or
you never thought about being a player itself?
No, I was bronze 5, bro.
Oh, even in 2018?
I think in 2018 I was like gold. I was pathetic.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gold like 4 or something. I was fucking pathetic.
At least you got the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That year I went to Diamond.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Diamond's king.
Yeah.
Elo Jorge?
Yeah, but I was still really bad. And it's,
No, but Elo Job?
Elo
not
job?
Elo
No,
Job, right?
of course not.
Okay.
Oh, Elo job. All right, like boosted.
Boosting, yeah.
No. Yeah, so I just looked at the industry and I worked for a company called ESL. I don't know if you know.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, they do like Counter-Strike, and I was actually more of a Counter-Strike player.
Our broadcaster director, the one who's doing it right now, he was from SL as well.
Yeah, so I worked in ESL as a player manager and translator, and that was through 2019. So throughout 2018 and 2019, I just looked at everything about esports, and the biggest one at the time was League of Legends. So at the beginning of 2018, it was midway through 2018, I started looking at coaching, and I started looking at management and how the business aspect of esports worked. I messaged a lot of people in the scene, and there I looked at, okay, how is coaching being done in esports? I looked at like starting a company called Headworks Incorporated, and the idea was that I would use games as a pathway to learning.
Okay.
That was kind of my idea, right? And I got the idea by thinking, well, I think I learned a lot when I like started try-harding at games. Like the way that you learn and you can actually take life lessons from this, you know? So I was like, well, why don't we create a company that does that? So then I started my first company. Then naturally, because it's about learning, I looked at coaching, and I wrote a bunch of stuff about coaching and how to use traditional education, educational methods, and I looked at what's the word? I speak 0 languages now, apparently. I looked at academic papers on the best ways to like learn efficiently, and I applied it to League of Legends, and I made a post on Reddit. And at the time, I had like 0 coaching experience about how you can use traditional educational methods and science to better your behavior and to improve faster.
But basically, like your intent, the intent of the company was to make people learn how to learn.
Yeah, and I thought it was really the intent of the company was to use games as like a tool to learn certain topics. Like it could be Minecraft, it could be anything. And my idea was to actually like scale this up massively and go to every school and college and kind of sell it as a program. That was the initial idea. Yeah, it's a bit complex. I'm trying to organize my thoughts here because it's so long ago.
But did you manage to like make it happen, or?
No, I think with startups, it's really complex because you keep changing your ideas. But that was the initial idea. And then we ended up doing some marketing around esports, and I got a couple marketing jobs in the local area promoting game-related businesses. So it wasn't successful, but it was a positive experience in terms of like managing a business and working with people and finding right connections.
And how did you like land your first job coaching? Was it in the LEC or? No,
that was where I was getting to. So like I wrote this paper on Reddit, right? And I had 0 coaching experience. And then it got to the front page of Reddit. My very first, I didn't even have a Reddit account, but I thought it'd be cool to make one and like post it because I learned a lot. And then Tryndamere, so Mark Merrill, the guy that made the game, for those of you that don't know, retweeted it, right? He retweeted my post, and I didn't have Twitter at the time. And someone in the Reddit comment said, yo, Mark Merrill just retweeted this. So I made a Twitter account. I had 0 followers. Then I messaged him. I said, hey, you want some coaching? And he said yes.
Wait, did you coach Mark Merrill?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's really cool.
Yeah. So like while I was dabbling, like for me, when I learn stuff, I get really into it, and I was like messing around with everything. So I was messing around with streaming and learning the game. And in that year, I went from bronze to gold to diamond 3. That year.
Based on your own theory.
Based on my understanding of how to learn, but I was still like incredibly bad. Incredibly bad. I was like one-tricking Warwick, bro. It's disgusting.
No, it's
the old one or the new one? It was
the new one.
Right,
the new
right?
one. Yeah, the new one. The one you run fast in, you know?
Yeah.
So then I coached Mark Merrill in front of like 500 people. And LS watched it. and he's like, oh my god, this guy's so shit, because I didn't know anything about the game. You know, that was my first experience coaching. But at the time, I didn't care, you know, because I was like, this is a really cool experience. I just coached the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company.
Imagine you create a game. Then the game goes viral and you get coached on your own game.
That's pretty cool too.
By some random guy, right? It's not even a champion. It's not like faker, you know?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I still kept contact with him throughout the years. And then I was like, oh, I mean, everyone's really bad at coaching, you know, and I think it's a lot of fun. So throughout 2018 and 2019, I kept dabbling around with coaching. As I said, I worked in ESL, I looked at management, et cetera. And then everyone I was like coaching in Oceania ended up getting really good, like getting rank 1 and stuff like this. So some of the players I coached, you might know, like I worked with Fudge for a bit. He was this is in 2019, and I was really bad, but he was too nice to say I was bad, I think. Serdi, I think he works in, I think he's a FlyQuest Challengers player. He was going to play in EG LCS. But then they sold the slot.
I don't know.
The top laner?
Yeah. But then he recently won challenges. So he recently won Academy. Like players like that, you know. And then my rumor kind of spread. And I got my first full-time offer in Oceania as a head coach. And I had 1 year left of university at the time. And I was still working multiple part-time jobs. I was still working in ESL. Yeah. Yeah. Economics, finance, double major. Okay. It was a bit over a year, actually. It was a little bit over a year. And then I got the offer at the end of 2019, like close to the end of 2019. And I was in Korea at the time, and I said, you know what, like, why not? You know, I think I could do a better job than the people there from the conversations I've had. The scene seemed very pathetic, honestly. And I thought, okay, worst case scenario, after 1 year, if I don't make it out of Oceania, because I think my analysis of Oceania was that it was doomed.
Sure.
Right? And OPL was still around back then. It was before LCO, what they have now, right?
Yeah.
So it was still like Riot sanctioned before what they have now, you know? So even though Riot was still in the region, I thought the region was doomed. So, okay, even if I don't make it out in a year, I can just quit and put that in my resume, and it could be relevant work experience, and I can go back to school. So yeah, that's what I did. I told myself, I'll give myself 1 year to coach professionally. If I make it out of Oceania, maybe there's some potential here.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, and I could obviously make way more money. So my first salary was 5,000 Australian dollars a year, which is like $300, 1.5k reais per month. And I was working as a general manager and head coach. And that's where I signed Croc.
Oh, which team?
This is the Chiefs.
The Chiefs,
which you would know.
We know some teams.
Yeah, we know because when INTZ played international in 2016, I remember that Revolta made some friendship with Swiffer and Swifter. It was Swiffer and Swifter, no?
It was Swiffer and Swiper.
Oh yeah, Swifter and Swiper.
And they still say still better than Revolta, still better than Swiffer. They do that for you.
Yeah.
But by the time I joined, it was really late. The year after I joined, the Riot shut down in Oceania, and Swiffer was already a legend in our scene, and he went over to I think Europe, and he started coaching XL, I believe.
Yeah.
Is he coaching LEC right now?
Now he's coaching SK Gaming as head coach.
All right. So is it Freddy too there? Freddy 112?
Yeah, he was my boss.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Freddy?
Yeah. So
was he crazy as he was in the game? Because I played some screens back then in 2014 against him, and he was like the Aatrox player. He really liked the old Aatrox.
Yeah.
No, he was the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. He's really quiet in person.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of top players that I played back then turned out to be great coaches. Young Buck as well. I played against him. He was really bad in lane, but the guy is just smart, you know? He's smart about the game. We have this kind of thing here in Brazil as well with the INTZ coach, Aoshi. Like, he was not good at the game, not very good, but he seems very smart about it. And when you think about a player that plays professionally and you see he's not the most gifted, but he makes it pro, he makes it work, you know that he has something. Like, he's not there because of nothing, you know?
Oh, actually, I have a good question, I think, about if you had to choose a coach for you, let's say me, I'm a good that I'm a good player, I want to go pro, or I'm hiring for a CBLOL coaching spot. Which kind of coach do you think will do a better job? Like a coach with player experience, like a retired player, for example, or a coach with your background?
I think 95 to 99% of coaches will be replaced by ex-pros.
Mm-hmm.
That's my belief. I think in the next 10 years, 95 to 90% of them will be replaced. I think being a pro player is a huge advantage. And I think I'm a bit of a statistical anomaly. And even then, I still feel that I'm lacking a lot because I don't know how it feels like to compete.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes I might get the wrong read or something like that. So I would always, I think I value ex-pros very highly, but it needs to be a certain kind of ex-pro.
Yeah.
Because as a coach, you need people skills. So then you're talking about, hey, am I looking for a head coach? Am I looking for a strategic coach?
Positional.
Yeah. For example, I was interested in getting talkers, this split as well. Even mid-split, I was interested in getting talkers. He helped me. Revolta helped me as well. I even talked to Seel. But, you know, it didn't work out financially. It didn't work out financially. But, yeah, I mean, I always think that...
Yeah, Revolta is a mercenary. Yeah.
No, Revolta I actually wasn't as interested in because it didn't fit the profile I needed. Right? Even though I think he's smart about the game. Like, I think talkers would be better for us because I can handle the people. And you know, talkers can help me strategically.
How much do you know like about matchups and overall? Because for instance, I remember that I used to watch Fnatic vlogs when they had the legendary lineup. You know it, like with Rainover and
Yellow Star,
Huni, Febiven, and their coach was a poker player. It was Taylor.
Yeah.
And I remember this scene in the vlog where he was very mad with someone in the team. I don't know if it was Febiven, but he was talking like, "Yo, I asked you about this matchup and you didn't know. I don't know about the game. You have to tell me like about the game, about the specifics, so I can do the best decision." You know, he was very mad at them because they didn't feed him the information needed for him to make the right decision. I remember something like that. So how is it for you? Do you know like the basics? Do you ask the players a lot? Do you depend on their feed of information for you?
No. It's normally the other way around. Like I will argue about how the matchup should go. So I think I know the matchups pretty well. Yeah. Yeah. In general, yeah.
But by watching the other regions.
Yeah, and also I played a disgusting amount of the games. Like I went from being a bronze 5-0 LP player before Iron existed to 400 LP. And I have like no arms.
Which role?
I mean, I've played every role to master, so it's.
Don't you have a main?
I mean, at the moment I'm playing jungle, but it just depends. It depends
on
what
I need. Best?
It changes to what I'm learning. Like for example, if I really want to climb and learn one champ, like what a champ does, I'll spam it. So at the moment, I think I spammed like 60 games of Vi, and then I played 60 games of TF and 60 games of whatever.
If you were to play CBLOL, you know CBLOL?
Yeah.
Which role would you choose? Like a team of coaches?
I would not play.
You wouldn't play?
Nah. I'm too shit. I'm so shit. It's not like that, you know. But it's like I think coaches actually need to play because even though I might not learn matchups in game, and I think it's kind of impossible because the other side doesn't play it properly, even in Challenger here.
Yeah.
You learn limits of the champ. That's like 90% of why I play. So half the time, for example, I might just do a shit decision just to see how much damage I do, you know? It's like this. And then once you learn the limits, you get an idea on how a team fight should go. And then you study like LPL or LCK or Pro VODs or Challenger players. Like I study Guma UC a lot. And I think Zeus is a real exception, for example, topside.
Yeah.
And you just see how the matchup should go and why. And you kind of break down the logic, right? So for example... I mean, what's one I've talked? I mean, you can see it in my older YouTube videos, actually, not the ones I made in Brazil. I talked about like Senatam versus Kalista Renata, which bush to play for, what wave you're crashing, Like if you don't base, say, wave 4 in this matchup, wave 3-4 in this matchup, then center time out sustains you. They get the slow push. You're stuck in lane, and then they can contest first Drake, and it becomes really bad. You know, stuff like this.
You think the Brazil is very bad at this kind of basics?
Yeah, terrible,
for sure.
terrible,
For sure.
terrible,
For sure.
terrible, unbelievable.
I don't think I ever played with a player that know about these things like to perfection. You know.
No, but you need to. Like same for top. I mean, it's just every role you study it. You know? For example, Fiora, Aatrox. I don't know how it is anymore actually, but I did know that when it was Divine Sandra meta, you know, for example, like okay, Fiora gets pushed wave 1, 2, 3. Aatrox hits level 5. He plays the bounce wave, and then when he has 3 points in queue, he can start outranging Fiora and outplaying, like getting the push. Level 7 to 9, he spikes, and then the matchup is really hard for Fiora until first Sandra. Stuff like this. It's like you need to know matchups to draft properly. You need to understand how trade patterns should go. You need to understand every aspect of the game and make decisions.
I think this is why coaches have such a hard time in Brazil. It's because when you come from a good region, let's say you're coming from LEC and I don't know, Stardust is coming from T1.
Yeah.
And then he gives you a matchup, right? And he expects you to understand your role inside the game. But in Brazil, honestly, like people just don't know.
I mean, when we lost push with Varus Nautilus, I wanted to break the desk in half.
Against what? Against what?
I don't remember. It was.
You wanted to break the desk.
No. Against the matchup.
It was in
Varus Nautilus.
It was Varus Naut versus
what? Yeah, that's my question.
Zeri Braum, I think. It was something like that. I think it was in the game. It was the first game of Lost versus.
Oh, that's the game it went.
I had Volibear and my Varus lost push.
And the Volibear just went grubs.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, okay, he can't gank the first time because Jarvan can counter gank. But he needs to be there for the pushback, right? Because Varus Not is gonna have a slow push. Enemy Zeri Braum is gonna take a free base and come back and challenge the bounce wave, right? Sorry if the people don't understand, but anyway. So you need to be there to match numbers, push them out, and use a prior to either invade Jarvan, find Jarvan, or take a base. Yeah, maybe even take Dragon, right?
3v3.
Yeah, but the guy... Okay, first of all, my fucking Cassante dies 1v1 to Rumble. Then he's level 1, and fucking Pedro opens up top side, and he like walks back and forth. He's like, okay, I'm ganking top, and I'm like...
Dude, but come on.
It's like, unbelievable.
This kind of thing sometimes happens as well in the major regions. Like, I saw LEC, like, I don't know, Broken Blade dying randomly in a matchup he shouldn't.
Yeah, but that's okay. I understand there's, like, volatility. What I don't understand is, like, you should still have a plan after.
Definitely.
There are things in League that you have to take for granted, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's your point.
Exactly.
Like, if you have a pushing matchup, you have to push.
Bro,
if you don't push, then...
Bro, I watched talkers analyze me getting pissed off at Smiley. When I said, you're doing nothing right. You're doing everything fucking wrong. It's like... He got the first part right, but he didn't see the second part of the pathing, you know? Like, if you're playing an early game champ, you need to use your champion.
Yeah. If you don't,
you need to play the game, bro.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
I know.
It's like this. Yeah.
In top lane Brazil, it would happen a lot with Renekton players because especially like before, Renekton was such a bad scaling champion. So you really need to make it happen in the early game.
Sure, yeah.
But you didn't have players with enough attitude to make it happen.
Yeah, for example, I think like Renekton Jax is really Renek favored at the moment if you know how to play the matchup. Because like you really out sustain and Jax can never find a trading pattern with you in lane, right?
Yeah, Jax mostly wins like level 1 and 2, but level 3, level 4 is mostly
he can only win if like he gets stacks on his passive and then jumps on you and Renekton fights you. But Renek can just ease out and then just
E back.
And then E backs and Jax has no E and you just fist the guy and out sustain him and it's really hard to play. Here, the Renekton just sits there and does nothing.
Jax wins.
Pushes and then Jax just outscales and they win inside.
Yeah.
You know? That's what I like about Giga. He actually plays the matchups correctly.
Yeah.
He's like really good at understanding the matchup, you know?
I think FNB is also a good example.
I think FNB is a fantastic player.
Yeah.
I think he is kind of hostaged in that team.
Oh, for sure. He's the best player.
Like him playing the one they got 0-3 by Loud. he was playing Renekton versus Jax, and he was giving no openings to Robo. Like, he was constantly putting like 20, 30 CS up, but the team wouldn't do anything with the lead, and he wouldn't also be able to join them because the bot lane at that day was playing very badly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad. But going back to like that point that we were talking about, so you had this thing where you were coaching already some famous people, some people that like got some kind of exposure.
Yeah.
How come you went from Oceania? Yeah.
Oceania.
It's very weird to hear.
Australia is fine.
Yeah, Australia to Europe.
Yeah, so I think what set me apart was every team I've been on, like my entire career history, has been teams that are on fire or like low budget.
Okay.
Historically.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm the fireman, you know? That's actually what happened. That's how I met Smiley. So like when I was in Oceania, our entire budget I think was like 1/3 of Legacy. And we were top 2. You know? We started off 10-0 and then I think I ended 3rd place both splits. And I went from knowing nothing about the game to like knowing a lot because I'm talking to players every day. I'm like trying to learn actively. I think I played 4,000 games that year, 2020. Croc can confirm it. I played like 4 times, 5 times out of like pro players, you know.
But do you think this success rate, it comes from like, did you always como é que é montar? Esqueci, mano. Build. Did you always build your roster, or you think sometimes you just, I don't know, was lucky?
Not always. I didn't always build my roster. I built it at Chiefs. It was my first roster that I ever built. I mean, the only roster I haven't built that I wasn't a part of building was the Rogue roster. I didn't have the final say because I wasn't head coach, and the Heretics roster. Okay. Right? But I had some say in, for example, the Vitality roster and the Heretics roster. I mean, I always had some say, but I never had like the final say because other than Chiefs, because I was never head coach until VKS Stars.
Okay.
Yeah. So like a lot of the time it was, as I said, I was a fireman. So I came to Chiefs. They changed ownership, and they didn't have budget, and they needed to make it work. So they paid me slave wages, put out the fire. Then Inero was like building Golden Guardians Academy at the time. He gave me an opportunity. Then they fired me, but I won't talk about why. Off the record.
Okay.
Off the record. But Inero didn't fire me. So we still talk. And then I went to Europe, so it does Team Vitality, and their team was on fire because the LSE team was doing really shit. Then they demoted their top laner, brought another top laner in, and then they changed like two members of the roster, I think. It was their jungler and their top laner at the time. And then they were like, okay, we need a coach to like at least be a leader and like fix the problem. So, you know, I come in, and then 8 weeks into the split, they changed my top laner and they set it on fire again. They throw the grenades and shit. Everything's on fire again. You know. And then I think like I wouldn't say success. I had a good win. I think I believe my win rate was 71% or something across regular season. But that's not success because I never fucking won playoffs until Rogue, you know.
Okay.
Rogue was the only one that I won. So
you joined Rogue in 2022?
2022.
Okay.
But that was also on fire roster, right? Like
so I screamed against you, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was in Furia, and I played against Rogue in 2022.
I think we did at least once. I think
we played 5 games, we lost 4 games.
Was it summer?
All right.
Summer?
I don't know what
second split. Yeah, before the finals in Malmo, I think we scrimmed.
We won because I think FNB picked Gwen, and he killed like 25 people in one game, and he carried the game.
I think I remember this.
We got shit on most games.
Yeah, but anyway, so that roster was also the same. It was like they lost Inspired, who was their superstar jungler, and now he's like LCS MVP.
I'm a hater.
Yeah, he doesn't like Inspired.
I don't like his style.
Me neither, but I think he's a good player, you know?
Yeah.
And then they lost Han Sama, which was a G2 ADC, right?
Yeah.
So they lost their 2 best players. I think.
Fucking good player.
Yeah.
And then you got Malrang?
Yeah, Malrang, who was like Academy. Like he subbed in for LCK here and there, but he was Academy, and Canyon was the main jungler. And then we got Comp, who was 10th place.
Yeah,
At the time.
I like
He was in, but he's fucking good. He's fucking good.
yeah.
But he was 10th place. So I went to this roster because for me, like every year, I didn't mind as long as I got like a promotion. You know, I'd like move up the league. That was my goal because I wanted to compete at a higher level. So then like they brought me in.
Did the head coach call you?
And you have like...
I got scouted by Fly.
Fly?
Yeah, the GM. And,
Okay.
and then Freddie interviewed me and they gave me the job. But like Freddie doesn't talk much, and as you can tell, I talk quite a bit, so it was like a good balance, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was what, head coach?
He was head coach, but I mean like what I'll say throughout the year. Okay, for example, in spring, my man got COVID, Freddie got COVID,
Oh, shit.
and I was the only one in the office coaching, and we went 9-0. Don't want to be that guy, but and then after I left,
But you are the man.
I don't want to be that guy, but I mean, like, look at Koi
carry
and then look
the
at
team.
Rogue.
Yeah.
Ranger has a lot of experience with going like 8-0, 9-0, and
Yeah.
then things
10-0.
Yeah.
things start going bad.
No, but I think the man in that team was Odoamne.
Yeah.
He's like good with
Man,
like
I watched like Odoamne games like since the beginning. Like I remember that I watched a lot of Darian because he was from Moscow 5 and he was like my inspiration. And Odo
H2K.
and even Cabochard back then.
Yeah,
I
he
remember Zoro Zero. Like Zoro Zero was like the way that I learned lane phase was from Zoro Zero. There was a European top laner that played for a very brief time. So like I really respect Odo.
no, but the kind of guy he is in scrim. He'd be like, "This is fucking unacceptable. Like we like you're just fucking running it down here. Like what are you doing?" He's that kind of guy, you know.
Oh shit!
He
Yeah.
used to run it down.
No, like if other people run him down or something like
he
that.
got mad.
Yeah, he'd get really mad and say it in like a really abrasive way, you know.
He would say like,
and-
"This is unacceptable," and
Yeah, like
Smash the
or you're just
table.
trolling, and especially in review, he'd get really vocal
okay.
and like stubborn, and then they didn't know how to deal with it, you know, because we had 4 quiet people, and Freddie normally just sits there like this, so like yeah. Then he says, "Chill." He says in a really calm, in a monotone way, "Chill, calm down. This is unacceptable. This is not." And then it just keeps going. It doesn't stop it, you know. You, like, whereas like if it's like Odo, it's like me versus Odo, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you like just fist fight a bit, and then you talk to him about how you're meant to give feedback. And I bought him a book. Anyway, basically that's kind of why that dynamic worked, I think.
Okay.
Because Freddie would draft, and I was really shit at drafting until I joined Rogue. And I think Freddie's a great drafter. Like he has his own philosophy that I don't particularly agree with, but he was a great drafter. Won us a lot of drafts. I would handle like the people side. I'd make sure the things would function, and I would like use Odo as like a channel and like balance his vocal side out, and I'd make sure we play in like a certain way, you know, like systems for review.
So you're like a fusion of a coach and a psychologist at some point, at some degree.
I think every coach is a bit of a fusion of a psychologist in this job, you know.
Yeah, even if you play
Everyone is-
The
fucking-
coaches I
For
know,
sure.
they're the opposite of a psychologist. They help. They beat the
he
players.
had some really bad experiences.
Yeah?
Like he has PTSD to this day.
Yeah. No, but I never really joined like. See, that's one thing on my bucket list. I really want an experience where I join like T1 or like Damwon and just work with fucking cracked players, or like G2,
Wow,
you
that
know,
would be fucking good.
or G2. Because I've always been, as I said, like the fireman, you know. I had to work my way out from like Oceania, which is a rat hole of like the world in League of Legends.
No, Brazil is that.
No, Oceania's worse.
Worse?
For sure, bro.
I mean,
Have you seen our games?
But
Red Canids lost to Pentanet in a
We lose to
BO5
Oceania
in
in
2021,
MSI.
and it was like prime Red Canids.
I lost to fucking Dire Wolves. They were fucking shit.
Oh, that's pathetic.
Dyrus.
Dire Wolves.
Dire Wolves.
Is that's with Schoenfire, right?
Yeah, that guy's fucking bad.
No, but when I started my career, I thought he was the god.
Nah, he's
Bro.
bad.
No, but like the region got worse because all our good players and coaches left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
makes
like
sense.
pathetically terrible
That's
now.
understandable.
Yeah.
I think this year it got a bit better because the old names came back. Like they got kicked from NA and they came back and shit, you know.
Okay.
But I don't understand. Like for example, this guy called King with a 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but-
he's the ADC, right?
He's actually good, bro.
I played against him too
He's actually good.
in Worlds.
He's legit.
yeah,
he's
good.
legit.
He used to be good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he played in C9, bro.
But academy, right?
Yeah, but he also played LCS.
Yeah, but you can play academy in A2.
I mean, anyway.
If you try really hard.
No way.
But how did you make like how did you guys, you and Freddy? Oh wait, one question before. This is one thing that I find it's sometimes hard to understand in Europe, because I think that people like from different countries, they are very different, and sometimes you're raised by a household that teaches you to be like very calm, such as Freddy, you know, and
I think
that is so weird because when you go to Europe, you go to a LEC team, you're gonna get players from all over.
Maybe you get like a French player who's really fucking cocky.
Okay.
Yeah, the French player is so different from the Polish one, for instance. How did you manage?
Okay, so I think Freddy's biggest weakness, and this is a guess, is that he had both parents and they were both normal.
So, shit,
yeah,
normal parents.
I think so. I think that's the problem, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Like, I mean, I experienced a lot of things growing up. Like, we started off kind of bourgeoisie, like wealthy, and then as I grew older, we got poorer and poorer, and like a lot of stuff happened, you know? Like, for example, my mother was like into substance abuse, you know, like yelling and shit like this. And then I left the house when I was really young, 17, and I think the difference between Freddie and I was just that I had a lot of like alternative life experience and on how to deal with people. Like I moved out really young, so at 17.
You get tougher, right?
I worked all the jobs you can think of, like toilet cleaning, like waitering, you know,
me too.
Everything you can think of throughout my youth. I was in a political party for 4 years, worked for some politicians for like campaigning. I, you know, as I said, worked in finances, you know, so you get a lot of that experience and you kind of grow as a person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think a part of that also, you get this like a bit of don't fuck with me energy, you know?
Yeah.
Like just naturally, don't fuck with me energy. So I think that helped a lot as a coach.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, I dig it.
But in a bad way, because like I didn't know how to channel it in a high performance way at the start, you know? Like, you get educated on how to deal with people better, like
I know.
how to like build up players. That concept is new to me because like the way I was raised and the way that I survived throughout my youth was telling myself I was a piece of shit every day. I still kind of have this, and then just like grinding your way through and just fucking being a tough cunt, you know.
You can't. How can I phrase it? Like you can't make mistakes, right? Like you have nothing to go back to. And
no, but
you
if
have to make
exactly.
it work,
but if you're
right?
if you made a mistake, it's your mistake, and you have to own up to it.
Yeah, sure.
And then that's really bad in esports because in all competitive sports, because you can have like expectations, but you can't call your players shit.
Yeah.
I think it's really bad. For example.
Yeah, I know, right?
You would disapprove my coach.
No.
I had a coach that every day he would come to the office and shit talk my teammates and say like, oh, you're fucking terrible. Don't gank your bot lane. Their bot lane is fucking trash.
Yeah, never gank bot lane.
Never gank bot lane because their bot lane is fucking trash.
And then Ranger would say, no man, you're not trash. You're my precious. You're a great player.
I'm not this kind of guy, right? I'm the kind of guy who fight with my team, say, you play better, you motherfucker.
But he was that bad.
He was way worse.
No, but like, okay, you need to say that when they're bad sometimes. But the whole idea and the premise of high performance is you want to build your players up and your skill set up, right? So even if they're really shit, for example, you would say that they're growing.
Yeah, they have to build confidence.
There's a very big difference between, let's just say, saying, you're so fucking bad and do better versus I want you to step it up.
Yeah,
it's the same thing, but it's like so different. You know?
Or you're like you're playing, you are bad or you are playing bad. You know, it's like a momentum thing. It's like temporary things. But if you say like, oh, you're a bad player,
or I normally say your play here is bad.
Yeah,
you know,
but
and
depends a lot on the player, right? Because some people. And that's one thing that it was hard for me to learn because I was so rough. Like I was rough with others because I was very rough with myself.
Yeah.
Like I really had this mentality of hating yourself until you change it, you know?
Yeah.
Until you make the change that you want to be, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes there are players that you have to be gentle and it's gonna work.
That's exactly right. I mean, as I said, I mean, did you watch Behind the Stars at all?
A bit. I watched a bit.
Did you watch it?
The
About
last one I did.
60%.
There was one recently where I sat Smiley down after the first game in against Loss, and I straight up told him like, "You're doing nothing right."
Yeah, this
one I
this
watched
one.
it.
This one I watched.
And you
But
said,
I-
listen to Pro Delta, something
Yeah,
like this.
but I would never say that to, for example, Pro Delta.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
In any circumstance, no matter how angry I am, it just
Yeah.
depends. Like if you know the person, if you don't know the person to the absolute fucking molecule, you're inting, you know.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you say this, in general, it's very, very risky. But I know how Smiley works. Like for example, if I say he's shit, he'll try prove me that he's not shit, and then he'll say, I told you I can fucking play this champ, you know. He's like this, you know.
And some players will go like, oh, I'm shit. Then he plays
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, like sometimes, for example, I might go to Pro Delta and be like, "There's a reason you're in every final," and like I know how to use his like pride in himself to play better. And then be like, "That's damn right," and he'll like try prove it to me, right? And then
Guy manipulation.
and then to like Smiley, I'd be like, "You are the enemy of the team. You're down on every fucking way." You know, and then he'd be like, "No, I'm not. Like, watch this. I'm still the enemy of the team, bitch." And then he'd like say it back. You know, it's like this.
And then you make him believe that you're his enemy, but you just wanted to make it work, you know. You're on the same team.
I think there's a really big difference between coaches that have relationships with their players and then call them shit versus just calling them shit. That's the difference.
For sure.
Because for example, like if your close friend called you a dumb cunt. Am I allowed to say that? You can beep it out, right?
Yeah.
Right? In Australia, it's in North America, it's not so good. But
you
like,
can say arrombado in Portuguese.
but I heard in Brazil it's fine. Anyway, so say
Yeah,
you call your friend your dumb cunt, but you're really close. You might get mad at him for a bit, but you can be like, oh, maybe you're right, and then just get over it, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't like the guy and he just called me a dumb cunt, then my fists are going up and we're going outside.
Yeah, you're
you know?
defensive.
Yeah. So that's the difference. I think in my teams, normally I have very good relationships with my players. That's that.
And Rogue specifically, like how did you make the roster work? How did you guys make it work? Because for instance, we just had Mylon,
Yeah.
like on the first split, and Kaboom like really put in a lot of money in this roster.
Yeah.
And they came in top 6, losing 0-3 to Red. That ended up being eliminated by you guys. So even them didn't reach the finals. What did they do wrong? Like, why did you guys succeeded and they didn't? Like, tell us about Rogue itself and how to become champions, and then about Mylon.
So what did Kaboom do wrong? I mean, first of all, I don't think we succeeded. We beat them, but like, fucking lost, you know? Like, what's the difference between 3rd and 2nd and fucking 9th place? It's like the same shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm stuck here doing a fucking podcast instead of playing loud next week.
Deixou nós fudido. Deixou nós...
Qual é, dogão? Yo!
I'm like melted in my chair coming to this podcast.
No, but better. It's better for you to
But-
be here than being at home feeling sorry for yourself.
But yeah, I agree. Like, it's less of a disaster than Kaboom, if that's what you're saying, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what did Kaboom do wrong? In my opinion, like, everything.
I think their staff is pretty bad, no?
I don't know. See, you never know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Coaches can be victims, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we
I
know
swear.
that. Whoa, we know
Coaches
that.
can be victims sometimes, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but they're probably trolling a bit at least, because I think even if you're a victim, if you're smurfing, you should get a little bit better with first players. Because, for example, I think Seos is really fucking good.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
To me,
I think-
he's still the best player in Brazil.
And
That's
he
what I
was-
said before I came here, though.
Yeah.
He was looking like an iron player.
Yeah, and I
And
think...
then we think about like his coaching staff, you know? They don't know how to work the guy.
Yeah, but it could just be ego as well. You never know. And
Sales no. I know.
Oh, he's
yeah,
so
but
good,
I don't.
dude.
Maybe Natuno. I don't know. I don't know.
I know the players. That's why I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, like you're
I
talking
only
about.
I don't know Marang, and I don't know House too much.
But Marang is not hard to work with.
Then their staff is fucking trash.
Dude,
Yeah.
for real, like you were talking about how you wished you got a super team, like a really good team
Yeah.
to work with because you're the fireman. Kaboom is that team. Like he's the kind of team that you wish to coach because everyone is so good. Like except for Lonely, but everyone's so good.
But Seals, he's like a robot. He really feels like he doesn't have feelings. If he's 0-10 or 10-0, he doesn't change the way he speaks or the way he plays the game. It's crazy. And he's very easy to deal with. So, for example, Kaboom, they have 0 jungle support synergy. And I don't understand how 2 good players individually can't make.
But I think they're also
decent
just
plays.
inting in lane, dude. Like, I think, like, when I look at Natuno and Seal's lane,
Yeah.
I was really
They're playing
surprised.
bad.
I don't think Natuno was playing good.
Uh-huh.
I think in the lane, I think, well, not just in lane, just in general, like a lot of situations. I think what helped Rogue a lot was systems. I think that always helps, like on how we should be playing and why we should be playing a certain way. Like, okay, people were commenting, oh, everything this coach Seel is saying before coming to Brazil is just the basics, right? Mm-hmm. But you know what's also really simple? Being a really good player. All you need to do is play every day, learn from every game, keep calm under all conditions, go to gym every morning, eat well, sleep well, learn. But it's not like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard to be a good person. You just need to not fuck anyone over. You just need to not get angry ever. You just need to, like, do the right thing always. But it's, like, really hard to do that in life.
Yeah.
Right?
The
It's
basics are hard.
The basics are not the basics, bro. The basics are really fucking hard in the game because it looks like that from the outside, but when you're playing, you're thinking about so many things, you know? From a player POV, it's like you're looking at the map, you're looking at all this info, you miss things. It's not like this.
I think I get your point.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just because something is simple doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah, and I think I know how to build that well. And I think Rogue had some qualities. Like, for example, I think Larson is a standout player. I think this guy's so fucking good.
Very stable.
But he needs certain conditions to work, for example. And I know what the conditions are. I think Marang also needs some certain conditions to work. Just knowing how your players operate and how they fit and what they need and just fitting them together and making it work, I think is a part of the coach's job. But sometimes it becomes really difficult and, you know, you become a victim, right? For example, in Heretics, Peter still disagrees with me, but I think Ruby was like fucking impossible, bro. Like, I told him to not build Rod of Ages for like 4 months straight. And then the enemy team had 4 tanks and he rushed Rod of Ages on Talia and he did 0 damage on the best of 5 for playoffs.
He just needs Leandris and...
Yeah, and he would just solo carry the game. And then my 80 carry in the game. Because I told him, I didn't even tell him in public because I didn't want to like shame him, right? I told him in private every time, build Leandris, build Leandris. And he'd always say, okay, right? Then Jack Spectra, I remember inside the game he was playing, he was like, okay guys, our mid laner does no fucking damage, so we have to carry him. Like, we have to like wait until he gets items. It's like this.
I had a similar situation with like an Eddie carry. I was telling him like, you know, you should go Gauntlet because Gauntlet is much better. You do slows and you help the team and we
Ezreal,
do
right?
damage. You know, Ezreal, right? And then he was like, no, try Trinity Force.
I don't do damage.
In Trinity Force I do more damage and then I can
Auto attack.
Auto attack more.
This guy used to play Draven?
No, not him.
No? Oh, okay.
Não, foi o Matsu, ele sabe disso. Mas he was like, well, I have to respect the decision of the AD carry as well.
Of course.
Like, he's the one playing, but I was certain that Gauntlet would make it
But it's
better.
different if you're a coach because you should listen to the fucking coach, dude.
Yeah, the coach was saying Gauntlet as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know,
Anyway.
man.
But I have this problem too. If my coach says something that I don't agree, I just don't do.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Let's go.
But then at least don't be
Like,
a cowardly
okay,
cunt and say that.
Okay.
At least say, coach, I disagree. And then if they disagree, I will just not pick them to the champion.
No, like for example, the
Straight
coach
up.
I said that used to trash talk my bot lane a lot, right?
Yeah.
It got to a point where I don't remember the exact medicine, but he had a medicine that said something, blah blah blah, retard, something like this.
Damn.
Really?
Yeah, a medicine from drugstore. Okay.
Yeah.
So he take a pen and circulate the word retard and put in the front of the monitor of
No.
my support.
That's fucked up.
No.
I swear to God. I
No.
swear to God.
That's too much.
And and then he used to say like, "No, never gank your bot lane. Our bot lane is so trash." And I said,
Holy
"Okay, I'm not gonna do it. Inside the game, I just go and gank bot. You know."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But-
Okay, that makes sense.
Like you were telling about like you have those kind of players. You talked about like Larson and then Marang and
Yeah.
you talked about like what was the word used? Specific conditions. Yeah, conditions. For instance, give us a condition of a player that he needs to have in sort.
Larson, okay, rogue management and staff. If you're watching this, Larson needs vision around mid, and he needs to be played to, and it's just like this.
Oh, that's envy.
You need to play through mid.
Yeah.
You need to play through mid. This is how he's used the game, and this is how he's played the game for the last 10 years. So if you don't play through mid and you don't know how to get vision and you don't know how to sync jungle support and like retake vision and fight for river control, your mid lane is going to look like a piece of shit. But it's because your players are playing like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So Larson's a great piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this.
And Mylon, why he looked like such a bunda mole here?
Because he doesn't have the conditions. But I can't say what conditions because I want them to keep being shit.
Sure, that's fair. Yeah.
But he's a really good player.
Yeah, we
like
can tell. Yeah.
Do you think it's like having a really big, powerful weapon, but you just don't know how to pull the trigger?
It's like having a nuclear weapon and you don't have the button.
Yeah. Like
Anyway.
a weapon with no bullets.
The point I was trying to get at is I don't want I want the experience of going to a super team because I've never done that before. And it made sense because I've been in esports for now 4 years. Had to work my way up from like the gutter trash, right?
Sim.
But I'm really happy at Cade, for example, because I think I add a lot to the players and that's why I work. Like I want to make the world a better place. That's one of my strong convictions. I don't want to do esports forever. When I leave esports, I want to do that as well. I run my own company and we build things there as well. You know, I think I have an impact here and I'm helping them and I really believe in their potential, right? But it's also, it would be a lie if I said that they were perfect and they had nothing to learn, you know? Like when I came here, we were so bad. We lost 1-5 to Academy and then our scrim win rate was like 30% for 3 weeks.
This roster?
Not with Tukui.
Oh, okay.
Not even 30%. We'll lose every scrim. It's like this, you know?
Yeah,
so
it's a lot of work.
it is a lot of so I mean I think a little bit more time would have helped. I think I could have been a little bit better in certain situations. I could have handled certain people better, but I think we have a great deal of respect for each other and they know their potential. Like my players know their potential. I think Smiley hasn't hit it yet. I think Prods has so much more that he can offer. I think Pedro is actually insane.
Yeah,
He's insane.
He's my big bet for
Bro,
the jungle.
Goach,
Yeah.
Goach, can I say this? I'm going to say it anyway because I don't think you care. Before I came, he was like, bro, listen, I like you and I'm just going to teach you something about Brazil, okay? There are certain players in Brazil that are going to win you championships. There are certain good players and certain bad players, right? And I was doing an interview with you. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
And he said, Pedro, when he plays on stage, is so fucking bad. Like he plays so different from when he plays in
Me?
scrim.
I said that?
Yeah, you said like he plays a lot worse on stage,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, but he's so good. So there must be something that ticks, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized he just didn't know certain things. Like, for example, he just didn't know about not showing in vision, bro.
Wow, really?
Think about that for a second.
Wow, but
But you can never know that. He does it instinctually. That's what I learned in Korea. That's what I learned in Korea. So, like, when you told me he was, like, trolling on stage and I watched his games, I couldn't believe it, you know? Because I'm seeing this player that's cracked mechanically.
yeah, he's fucking crazy.
He's, like, so talented. And he's so good with feedback and he works hard, too. He works really hard. And he's, like, probably closest to the perfect player for me in terms of, like, someone I want to develop. Lelico is my number one right now. He's fucking goated, bro.
You're a robot.
He's
He's
Cristiano Ronaldo.
No, he's for sure goated, bro. He's for sure goated. Like, you don't understand how goated this guy is, right? And then you tell me these things and it doesn't line up, you know? And then I told him about the vision thing and he's like, mind blown. So it means he didn't learn from his previous coaches. And because he had good instincts and a good feeling for the game,
He was just a little dumb.
the coaches missed it.
Oh, shit.
Because he did it sometimes, you know?
I thought it was the nerves, man. Like, I always thought when I watched the Zambia
He has nerves too.
Yeah, he has a little bit
has
of nerves,
nerves.
right?
Yeah,
like
for
the
He has a
first
lot.
game, the first game, the first two games, I think that you guys were losing the series. I thought it was a
for
big
sure.
part Dizami's there because he was doing like decisions that he wouldn't do like in the regular season. You know
The thing with nerves though is that everyone has them, and there's only like a few things you can do about it. One is education. Like, how do you deal with your feelings in high performance, right? There's a lot of things you can do, like breathing, like mental exercises, building resilience. And then experience is the other one. So it's education, experience, and time. These are the things I think players need, right? And we have that at Cade, and I think both Pedro and Fabio, I think Fabio, for example, plays a little worse against Pain, right? It's like this.
Block, yeah.
It's like this. But, I mean, you should see him, like, game 2, 3, 4, he just comes online and he starts playing, you know? So they just need some time. So for me, the mental block was there for sure. But if you have a really good idea on what you're doing on the map, even if you're not thinking straight, you can build good habits. And then you'll look better. And then over time, you become better.
Do you believe in manual mode? Because it was something that I developed throughout the years. Like, I noticed that sometimes I would get nervous.
Yeah.
And I would, like, you know, when you go to a test and your mind goes blank and you can't remember the answer that you studied to, and you know that.
Yeah.
So I started, like, relearning everything that I would do in the game, but manually. So I would get nervous and my mind, it happened, it was rare for it to happen. But I just took my mind, like, off automatic and put it like, okay, so I have to click like that. And I'm gonna do this in lane, and I'm gonna ward here. I'm gonna, like, stand to this side, and I was telling myself those kind of things until I stopped being nervous and started playing the game again, like I always do.
So what you're describing in high performance, like, sports psychology, is like focusing on the process. You hear me say this a million times, but that's exactly what it is, right? The whole idea behind super high performance is building a level of subconscious competence in a lot of these key areas. That's what I really believe, like knowing what to do in certain moments without thinking, and every second, every millisecond counts inside the game. So Ranger, you probably know as an ex-player, like a good play can become a very bad one in 2 seconds, right? Yeah, sure. Based on position, right? Like a Jarvan flash ult could be amazing and 2 seconds, or fucking horror. It's like this. And so when you're building subconscious competence, you move on to new topics because you keep learning as a player, right? And when you move on to new topics, you can build bad habits from either solo queue or scrims or something on your old ones. So part of, like, a really process-oriented mindset is going over all the things you learned and making sure you're revising them and making sure that you're not doing those bad habits in the game. So yeah, it is a really good way. And when you start thinking like that, you think less about the result, which is what you want to avoid, and more about the process, and you become better.
Yeah, one thing I have to say about, especially about the relation between scrims and stage and designs, for example, and what I felt. I played mid and top before I became a jungler, and what I felt the biggest gap was in jungle for sure, is that the practice you have in scrims is so different from stage.
The windows just don't happen in the stage as it does in scrims.
You know that for sure, right? There are many more fights, and a player, to me, Dizames is like how can I say, like, como o Carioca era antes, assim, tipo jogador mais instintivo.
Yeah, he was like
instinct-based.
Instinct player. So he's really fast, and his reaction time is really good, and he's very talented mechanically. So that's why I think one of the reasons he's better on scrims is because of it. So there are so many more fights, and he can use his strength more often, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is about when I used to scrim for CBLOL, I have to separate in my mind what's good in stage and good on scrim. I don't know if
I did that as well. On top lane, it was the same.
It's incredible. Like, you know, a pathing is better than the other one, but sometimes in scrim you have to adapt, and I think this is something that will forever like damage the player's quality of practice. You know, that's really hard.
We should make it like more uniform, right?
I mean, I think I'm not gonna mention orgs, but in general, this is a really big problem, and that's why actually I really like scrimming against our academy team. I think part of being a good trainer, a good coach, is also understanding how your players work. Some players are just instinct-based, and some players think a lot more. So you need to know how to teach each one and why. So for example, like Pedro is an instinct-based player.
Yeah.
So if you tell a lot of stuff to him, he'll just get confused. And he'd be like, yeah. And then
He does nothing what he
When
wants.
we talk with him, it's like a little slow, like speaking.
Yeah.
It's very calm.
And then, so for example, like we had one scrim where he's like, I don't know, it just feels fucking shit. It just looks shit, and he doesn't know why, you know.
Oh.
And I was like, yo, okay, this game we should have a 6k gold lead instead of being down 2k. And he's like, nah, but show me. And then I go down to bot lane, right, when we're having a shocker day, and we're playing like Lulu X, and Lulu could like move in a certain way and find leads in lane. And I said, like, in this region, it shouldn't matter. You can always like, how do I explain this? You can just gap the other guy because the other guy's not playing good.
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
look at this bot lane. If we space like this and we contest this bush and we move at this timer and we play aggressively because his skill is down, whatever, then we would get prio on wave 1. This would change our wave 3. Then you could puff down and play more aggressively on wave 4, for example, and take enemy krugs. And the whole game changes. Then we base first and we take drag and this happens. And then I like explain the matchup to him, you know. Whereas like he might get a feel for how the matchup should go, but it's not how the matchup actually goes. And then he develops weird pathing or weird habits. So it's like really important to like pay attention to that kind of stuff, right? Whereas if I'm explaining to Fabio, I think Fabio, so Pro Delta, is like more of a thinking player. He's like the closest guy in the team right now inside the game that has the vision of how I want the game to be played.
Yo, there's always this guy in the teams,
Yeah.
like the one that like repeats what the coaches said,
Yeah.
like the one that reminds the condition of
Yeah.
victory
The
in
favorite
that
child.
competition.
But the thing is, like, he learned a lot from Zero, I think. He
Uh-huh.
always tells me that he learned a lot from him. And I think Zero and I are somewhat similar in terms of how we view the game. It's a little bit different for sure. And there are some things like details or things. But like the point is, like, he can see it and feel it inside the game. And when he gets in the zone, he told me, he was like describing it, things move a bit slowly. And he can see and like capture details, right? So I can explain to him in a more complex way on what to do things. So he might not find as many windows. I think he still does. For example, on Rel, right? When he gets like
he's
3
by
man
far
ups,
his
yeah.
best champion as well.
But like he's not as instinctual as Pedro. So he might not be as explosive, but he can just 1v9 on the map, controlling people. Whereas Smiley, if he starts talking, it's like just terrorism. Like he'll just sit in a side lane.
You know what I feel?
But he's really he's actually smart. Like if you explain it to him, he understands, he knows the concept, and I say, okay, just tell me what I just said and tell me why. He'll explain it perfectly. Then inside the game, he'll just get game losing ideas, you know.
Yeah.
So then you need to know like how each brain works, for example.
Okay.
And Smiley is for me more explosive player.
I don't know why, but I have the feeling that Smiley should be a support player.
Support player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks that, did you hear already? He thinks that Smiley is the super okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, super
That's his
normal,
nickname.
super normal,
Yeah.
super okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
normal, yeah.
Yeah. I think part of why it was like that is he had two really, like, he was never like this in 2021 when I first met him. The thing is, like, he had just won 2 French championships and he was mega burnt out.
And LFL, right?
LFL.
LFL.
And it's a good league, I would say. It's a good
the
level.
best in the minor.
Yeah, and I would say that if you put LFL against CBLOL,
Oh, they destroy us.
I think so.
Yeah, they destroy for sure.
I think so.
I screamed against LFL teams many times.
I think
They're fucking good.
what people in Brazil don't understand. I'll come back to this actually. Remind me to come back to this.
To LFL?
To Brazil and LFL, yeah. Because
okay.
because the other day people shit on me for me calling everyone bad, but I'll talk about that in a second.
Oh, right.
Right? Like he was burnt out from LFL.
Uh-huh.
And I got him when he was mega burnt out, but he was still the really aggressive, like perma strong side player, tests limits. But when your team does really bad, like we were doing at the start, and he had like 2 years of PTSD. He went to like mega shit teams. Because what happened was he was in Vitality. Then
Lonely.
then Vitality jailed him. Like he couldn't join another team. They jailed him because they were trying to sell him for like a ridiculous amount of money for an academy player. And then he had to go to a really shit team. And Smiley's the kind of guy where he could sit on his contract, but he doesn't want. He wants to play. You know.
Yeah,
he feels he'll get rusty, so he went to this mega shit team. And I remember he joined the team Geo, but the org is fine, but the roster was mega shit. And I remember typing to him because I was at Rogue at the time, bro. Like, why did you join this team? It's like unplayable. Like, you know, it's complete doomed. You know, there's no potential. And then he's like, nah, it's all good. Like, I got this. I'm like hyped to prove myself. You know, I'm gonna carry. Then he just got like, you know,
last place.
No, he got, I think, middle of the pack. He still carried them to middle of the pack, but he was like shot calling everything and micromanaging everyone, and like, and then he became more passive as a player. And then from there, he joined Eintracht, which is Spandau, which is a German team. And I would say they were, you know, a top 4 team in terms of talent, but not. I would definitely not say championship level, especially some of the pieces there, in my opinion. And I think those habits kind of stayed, and you know, that team also had a lot of problems, so they had to play like topside a lot, or the bot lane maybe wouldn't mesh together. So he built a lot of these habits that I noticed this year, where to be a good player, in my opinion, you have to int.
All right, someone that agrees with me.
Yeah.
No, but like, you need to int, bro. I don't.
You don't know the limits.
Scrims.
If you don't int, you don't know the limits.
But you int a bit, you int a lot, and then you need to know when to stop inting. So, for example, you might int, you know, once or twice a week. You choose a day where you decide you're going to play crazy, because your teammate. You need to. If you're a thinking player, you need to realize that your teammates would like want to kill you. You know.
Yeah.
So you kind of like choose a day you decide to int, and you just go crazy, and you like test limits and push stuff.
I think depends on your role on the team.
Yeah, but I think AD carry always should.
Yeah, the carries
Always
for sure.
should, because it's about damage, right?
Yeah.
The only exception to inting is if you're inting at the wrong time. So, for example, if you're inting in a team fight, where in a timing that you should fight, I don't mind. But if you're inting at a time when you have to practice setups, I hate this.
All right.
Okay,
Makes sense? Anyway,
yeah, for sure, yeah.
so he was like not testing limits, you know? In our scrims. Because he wants to provide stability for the team.
Stage 2,
Yeah, that's super normal.
Yeah.
But he has what it takes. It's just very hard. And at the start of the split, he was being more of a leader, because Pro Delta wasn't as vocal. I think last 2 weeks, Prods was 1v9, like complete 1v9. He'd literally say, guys, everyone shut up and listen to me. We go here, we ward here, we do this, we take our control like this. This is how he's like communicating. But like at the start, it wasn't like that. So Smiley's like taking that role, you know?
So you switch their jobs.
Yeah, that's why I tell him to shut up all the time.
I mean, especially because support is such a better role for him to do that. You know, any carry, you just, focus on the mechanics and the rotations.
People probably got confused, but if you watch BTS, like every second episode, I'm telling Smiley, like, don't talk. Because like for him, he's scared. Like he wants to win really bad, right? So he'll do anything it takes. So from his POV, it was like, even if I play a little worse, I want to make sure that we have a clear direction. And I think our team was struggling with giving that clear direction early on, because Prods was still like growing in that role. And he was so scared that he didn't let his team fall. Like, you need to let your team fuck up and learn this skill.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I learned that too late in my career.
Yeah, I mean, I said that in the interview with you. I think I said some things that were maybe not true. I actually watched an excerpt of... I thought he was the type where he would like rage to his teammates, but it's not like that.
Me? I am.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Okay, then you are like that. But you were telling me about like lanes and you were getting like melted. And I was telling you like, you need to let them fuck up, and they need to like learn the matchups themselves. And then you're like, bro, I tried waiting, and but there are some teams like that though.
Yeah,
there are some...
I used to be the type of guy that I try to prevent the mistakes, you know, like Dragon is coming up, please push this wave and TP here, don't TP the bot or something.
But what I noticed is I think you resonate a lot with Smiley. That's what I noticed with you when you were watching him. I think you actually like him a lot.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, and so that's why he's super normal, bro.
Is it super love? Super romantic, you like, and him? Oh no, he has
I will say this: if I'm coaching Titan or Brants, I would coach them completely differently.
Then Smiley.
No, than what they're doing now.
No.
For me, I would let Titan go crazy. But I think
they did that on Red.
They
used to do that. Like every time we would point like Titan mistakes, And even Aegis would come to the shows and etc. And he would say, "El Cheetahs, it's the Titan."
But they need to know when to channel this energy.
Yeah.
And why it's good and how.
It's like Suarez. Do you know Suarez, the football player?
No.
Like he's the guy that was famous for biting some players. Like he bites, I don't know, 2-3 guys. I don't know. Like in the middle of the match, he would just bite someone. And then I saw an article with his psychologist where he was saying like, if I, for instance, medicate him and make him not to bite someone in the game, he will also lose his instinct that makes him such a great player, such a great killer in the match. So I can't do that. I have to let him go free, but also control in some way that he doesn't actually bite someone, you know?
That reminds me of the Chicago Bulls, Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh,
Same thing, yeah.
he was very aggressive, right?
And I think it's the same in league. It's the same in league, but having that instinct
Every sport is the same, basically, this kind of concept.
Esports is the same.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman in Brazil is Tinos.
Tinos?
No way, bro.
What?
No way, bro. I don't think so.
No, it's too much. Dennis Rodman is too much, but...
Não, mano, o Dennis Rodman era muito agressivo. Como é que ele é o Tinos?
No. Falando the outside game habits.
Oh,
you know,
okay,
some players, they need to have their own routine, their
their
own way to get they stress out.
I think all players do. In my opinion. But it's all about educating them on what are good habits. And if something works for them, it should be fine. But the problem is, like, if you educate them, they know what's good and bad, and they keep doing the habits that are shit for them, then they have to go. That's my rule.
Yeah.
But if, for instance, like you say you would like to let Titan go crazy. Like, let's say you let him, and then he makes a mistake, and then he makes the same mistake again, and he makes the same mistake again. Like, I had a piano professor where he wouldn't let me do some kind of mistake because he said, if you do this once, you're gonna do it like a whole bunch of it.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think my point is, like, you need to know how to control the leash, you know?
Okay.
But it depends on the type of coach. Like, Zero obviously... Like, Payne and Loud are the teams to beat in Brazil. In my opinion, if you don't beat Payne and Loud, you can't really say you've achieved anything. That's my belief right now, right? At least the vibe with the way things are going. I think Red is obviously a formidable team too, right? I think their players are all good, in my opinion. But right now, for me, Payne and Loud are the two top dogs. And they have their coaching style. So I'm not saying I'm right here, but at least the way that I view it is, like, if I have Titas, I would let him go crazy, but I would not let him do certain things that messed with how I need my team to play. For example, something that Smiley does that drives me insane was, like, dying on mid-wave, bro. This guy always dies on mid-wave.
He used to be trend among the Brazilians.
He keeps fucking...
Todos, everyone.
Bro,
Titan, everyone.
He always takes it, like, fucking early for no reason. So something that I said to him was, like, okay, the reason you do this is because you're chasing dopamine. You see the gold... and you get bored, and you're like, oh my god, I want that gold and I want to carry. And they get eager and they die. It's like this. It's like, this I won't allow because it messes up the tempo of the whole game, right? But if he, like, sprints it down in a team fight, and he ints my team fight 10 times in a row, I think it's okay.
And you were always giving feedback to him, like, yo, this time you should done, like, something like this or that, or let him just understand for himself.
No, I would always, like, see if I mean, I know that I first thing I try to do is, like, think about their POV. So why are they doing what they're doing here in terms of, like, testing limits? It makes sense. Like, for example, in the first two games, I think Smiley did some, like, really crazy bad things in the Pain series, right? Like the
Kaisa games.
It was unbelievable. But the thing is, like, I think if I looked back, it's one of his best champs. And I'd let him do it again.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, you need to see these angles and you need to know why it's good and why it's bad. And he probably had a read and a feeling and an analysis of that situation, and it was wrong. But you can see why he did it, and you don't want to take that aggression away from him. It's the same reason why I will not bench a player for performance and I will not change a player mid-split. Because you need to play without fear. You need, like, if you have the thought that you're going to get shit on by your coach, you just play like a pussy and you don't play good League of Legends. And you lose time. So you just have to, like, just suck it up and accept that they just griefed you, and that's how it is. Same for when you bench a player, right? If you bench a player because they're not playing good, then how are they ever going to play good? Like, if they want to play good, they're thinking, okay, if I make a mistake here, I'm going to get benched. So they play more passive. And they become stat robots.
They don't take the opportunities.
They don't take the opportunities. They don't see the windows. And then they become shits, right? So I'll never bench a player. I'll only bench a player for attitude reasons.
I hate benching players for, like, not performing in scrims, mainly. It happens a lot in Brazil.
Yeah, I know.
Like, dude, sometimes I will have a bad week.
Yeah.
I will play bad that week, but it doesn't mean that when we get to the stage, I ain't gonna be the best player. You know.
For me, scrim and stage, I don't care about performance. I care about attitude. So how are you behaving in the scrims? What did you do before the scrims? How did you prepare for the scrims? How are you training? How are you training after the scrims? And how do you prepare for the stage games?
And what do you say, like, this kind of player that he doesn't have a good attitude in scrims, but he always performs on the stage?
I don't give a shit. I'll throw the split and I'll bench you.
Okay,
That's
fair.
But, like, not instantly. Because for me, I think, for
you
example,
have to talk with him.
Yeah.
I think
Also-
most teams, okay, in my opinion, every player, or 95% of players I've had in my career are traumatized. They have PTSD in one way, shape, or form because of a certain team or a certain coach. It's just how it is. So they have some, like, really shit habits.
Really bad experience.
Yeah, really bad experience. And they do things to, like, cope because they were never taught, right? So, and these things that you do to cope, you don't change overnight, right? Like Odo Amne's reaction to doing that is because he wants to win, for example, right? Like him calling a certain player trash because they're inting him is a reaction because his coaches are just mute all and they didn't know what they're talking about. And or he's like PTSD from just coaches not knowing what they're talking about and not communicating and fixing problems, right? So it's like, okay, how do you do this the right way? Right? How do you like teach this the right way? How do you deal with tilt the right way? And then if they don't self-reflect on that, then that's a problem for me. Then it's a personality problem. But it's education first, time, and then if they're a piece of shit, then they're just a shit human, in my opinion. Because you have like everyone else in the team relying on you, right? It's a team sport. In a group, you need to work together.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
So the broadcast guys are asking what you think about the Brazilian sushi.
The thing is, I can see why people like it.
Okay.
It's just I have very like exotic taste buds, I guess. Like if you grow up with it, it's fine, you know. It's kind of like kimchi. You know kimchi?
I love kimchi.
It's like fermented cabbage, for those of you that don't know. It's Korean,
Yeah.
but it's an acquired taste. If you don't eat it from a younger age, most people will not like it.
Yeah, I thought it was disgusting where when Edu King would like take it out of the fridge and
it
I would
smells.
see like this mixture and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, but the more you eat it, the more addictive
Yeah.
it gets. Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays
Hey, what are
I
you doing
like
after? What are you doing after the podcast, by the way?
I
grab-
wanted to go eat.
You want to
let's
grab
go
dinner?
eat, let's go eat.
Let's
Yeah,
go. You want
Korean
to go
food.
Korean barbecue?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
you like?
I like it.
Really? Okay, let's
Let's
fucking go. Yeah. Choson galbi is good.
It's good, but I know a better place.
Okay. Let's go.
Let's go.
Pergunta que você ia falar lá.
Okay, the first question I have is about you said that you don't like benching players, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about the teams that have some sort of como é que é revezamento?
Replacement.
No, swapping, like
the
changing
players
the players.
are disputing the spots.
It's fucking bad.
It's fucking horrible.
What's the name of
right?
it in English?
Substitute. It's like you're
Like
competing for the spot.
Yeah.
Like a six player.
The Jojo Frosty thing is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I suffered with it a few times.
The problem is,
Also.
I think it can always be powerful to have someone that can replace you in the background playing academy because you feel the pressure and the need to motivate. And I think, I mean, it is a bit disgusting that it comes down to this, but
it's like a less resort thing.
Yeah, but even if you don't actually do it, a lot of esports players, I think, lack motivation. Like, I don't know why. It's some piss weak shit, but it's like very common in this industry, where you just take your paycheck. You're like, oh, I'm not gonna get first anyway. I'm gonna be satisfied with this 4th, 5th place.
It's the CBLOL lifestyle, don't you know it?
No, but like it triggers me unbelievably hard, and I'll go back to that shit when I talk about LFL. It's the same shit.
That's true. Yeah.
Anyway, so the reason you can't do that in League, and I'm telling everyone that watches the podcast, I hope the coaches watch it too, is because I want the region to do better. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just fucking bad that you're doing this, because you have a patch every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Right? And you need to learn the fucking patch. Mm-hmm. And your team plays a certain way, and every player in your team fulfills a certain role. Mm-hmm. So when you change players, or when you give half scrim time to these players, it's so bad.
Changes
it's so bad. Yeah, and you need to
it makes both players bad.
It makes both players bad because you need to learn the game so quickly. That's the terrible thing about esports, because in regular sports you get time of break time, and you get, I think, 4 to 5 hours of training, physical obviously as well, but you get separated time from your work. Whereas in esports you actually have to overtrain compared to traditional sports psychology and high performance.
Yeah.
You need to play the 13, 14 hours a day, because if you don't, you're going to fall behind on the meta. You're not going to understand damage, and the game will feel different every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If the patches are meaningful, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine doing that and then changing your player every practice.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's terrible. It's terrible.
And we didn't even get into like the self-esteem issues that it might happen with this.
Okay, that I don't agree with, because I think you're just a pussy.
Okay.
If you have self-esteem issues as a competitor because you're being replaced, just be better. Like, you're fucking competing, Like, in the end, okay, maybe I'm a hard ass, right? Mm-hmm. But my expectation and my idea on competing is there's one guy at the top and everyone else on the bottom. So to be a champion, I always say this to my players, you need to be the last guy standing. And that's what your mentality should be in any pro team. You need to be the last guy standing. You need to be the best. You need to aim to be the best. Mm-hmm. There's a really fucking big difference between a good player, right? Which is not easy to do, but common, I think, in at this level. And being a champion. Being a champion needs to be the guy that works the smartest, the fastest, most efficiently. And you need to be ready to fight for your spot. And you need to be ready to be the best. Mm-hmm. If you're not, you're a pussy. And you shouldn't be competing.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. And the other question I have is about when you said you one of your goals is to play in like a really stacked team, right?
That would be cool. It's in my bucket list.
Yeah. Like, do you plan? How do you plan to achieve that? Like, do you plan to stay, because your contract in Brazil is pretty long, right?
Yeah.
It's 5 years, I think.
Yeah, but it's a bit complex.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
Do you plan on building a dynasty here in Brazil, or do you want to make your name here and maybe go to Korea?
I mean, if I wanted
GNG,
to, I mean, like, I have a lot of things that I want to do. It's kind of like I had to choose, Mm-hmm. If you want to build a name, it's better to do it in the West, like in Europe or in North America, for sure.
Yeah.
Because you're in a major region. What I wanted to do was something a little bit different, revolutionary, right? Mm-hmm. I wanted to play the part of like a manager in football. Like, I wanted to build something from the ground up. So the project itself is very different. I want to build a dynasty. Obviously, I think everyone does. And I don't know if I'll be able to achieve it. I'll try.
Sure, yeah,
I don't know.
life.
I don't know the condition, and I don't know if we'll ever get the budget, or I don't know if it will be possible. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the players will turn out the way they do, because people are complex and players are complex. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, in Cade, it's the goal will never be to spend 1 billion reais and buy the best players. Mm-hmm. I think we'll have an increase in budget year by year. That's my understanding. Or we'll try to. And then in year 2, year 3, we'll go for the key pieces. Yeah. But in general, not in Cade. And then after my project here is done, then I would think about going to a major and doing something like that, if they'll take me. But I don't even know if it will be possible by then, because maybe by then my reputation as a coach is dog shit.
Yeah.
And
maybe you marry and want to stay in Brazil.
But maybe like, as I said, even if I do well here, people in Korea might not view me positively because they see me as a minor region coach now, right? That's the big risk that I took here. Not just the pay cut. The biggest risk was actually potential earnings, because when I go from a major to a minor, it's very hard for it to go from a minor to a major again. Yeah. And I don't know if people will appreciate me for what I'm doing, but I think what I'm doing is very different. I think what I'm doing is a really big step forward, at least for our industry. I hope it's like that anyway.
Good. Yeah, and I mean, dude, for how much we expected out of Cade, like seeing the lineup on paper, I know that you talked about like you really shouldn't really think of something if you haven't beat Loud or Pain. But honestly, it's already very good, man. Like when you came to Brazil, you're like very good at influencing. Like you were a truly influencer, and then people were like, "Is he a good coach?
Yeah.
Is he a truly good coach? Was he only the assistant?" And then I think the job that you already did with this lineup that you have is great, man.
But
because for instance, like the zombies that we were talking earlier, like we never saw him perform the way he's doing now. Of course, he still does do a lot of mistakes and etc. But it's a lot better than we had seen of him.
But guys, I mean that's not necessarily on me. Like where I think I actually smurfed was media, right?
Like invisibility for the team.
Yeah, I mean, for example, we sold the most jerseys we ever had in month one, than the history of the org. Then we sold more jerseys than the month before in one day when Prods came to this podcast. Right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, and because I also did
cool,
MD3 that day though. I also did MD3 that day. So it's double exposure, right? And I think I grew my social media presence a lot. I think people understand my branding. I think I did a lot of good content with like Skitty. I think it was like a really, really good time.
That was great as well.
And we're great friends as well with IL as well. And I can now leverage that to sell our vision. I can leverage that to maybe tank stuff for players, maybe tank things for orgs. This is just how it is. And I think that part I think I did very well, because I think manager is also about the media side and the business side as well, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, like the actual sponsorships and the actual sales channels and all that, that's like Hugo, and that's the actual management, right? But in terms of media exposure, no one can deny that the amount of Cade fans, like when we played our first studio game, we had like 3 fans.
Yeah.
And now it's like a third of the stadium or maybe more, you know?
Yeah, we can see it grow a lot.
Yeah, and we want to continue this and we want to make fans excited, and I think I did that well. But for the other stuff, like, I don't think it's a success, because I can see the potential, and we could have won.
Man, but
you can't deny that, because look at the
time,
first
dude.
game. You saying the first game was not winnable
like
Against what?
against Pain.
Oh, yeah, I think
Okay.
you guys could beat Pain in a good day, but not Loud.
But okay, if we beat the first game, what happens the second game? It changes.
Only God knows.
And then the third game, when we do the swap and they're clueless, I think it could have been a 3-0.
Yeah.
You know, that's...
But you only count success beating at least Pain or Loud, you said, right?
No, I count success if I'm champion. But I think that you can't say you did anything meaningful unless you beat those 2 teams.
No, we understand your
point of view.
Your point of view. Of course, you are a competitor, but from the outside, I think it's good.
We say in Brazil, tá pago. It's paid.
It's paid. Yeah.
I'm really proud of the players. Don't get me wrong. Like for example, when we first came here and I saw the first scrim, especially Smiley.
You lost hope.
No, seriously, I was like, we had a really interesting conversation between management. I looked at Smiley play, and I think he had the most. I don't know if it was jet lag or something, but I was like, did I make a mistake? like did I fuck up? Like this is unbelievable, you know? Like the stuff he was doing, I was like mind blown.
The owner comes and asks like,
and
is this the guy?
Yeah, and Pedro and like the management we're talking to each other like, guys, did we fuck up? Like, you know?
What is going on?
Yeah. But then he worked 16 hours a day. 16, 17, 18 hours a day. Took the boys to gym every morning. Right? Prods and Fabio and Decimus. I said Prods and Decimus. In the office. First one in, last one out. Boom, 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 boom. Plays at a good level. right? The rest of the team is quiet. So if like Pro Delta is tilted, for example, the only one that can stand out to him is Smiley, for example. And then the way like each player grew throughout the split, I'm proud of them, right? But I'm not happy. It's still a failure because we could have won and we have the potential to win.
Because you see the potential, yeah.
Exactly.
I want to ask now, like, about pain versus
Very
loud.
loud, yeah.
But before, tell me about that Heimerdinger pick. Because, okay. So, I saw that Fabio haven't played, like, Heimerdinger at all in competitive. And when I checked his solo queue account, he had 3 games as Heimerdinger.
Yeah.
Like, was like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, 3 days ago, and 3 hours ago right before the game.
Yeah.
And he didn't win a single one. How that decision of him picking it was made, because it's a pressure support. And Pro Delta didn't perform with Ashe, for instance, which is also a pressure support. So what was the reasoning behind that?
We had really good win rate in scrims.
Okay.
And like it made a lot of sense at the time.
It
at
was
the time.
against who?
Pain.
Pain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, it's a dark time in my life. It was a dark time in my life. They were coming into us. To be honest, I think we were underperforming as a team. Like, I don't think Prods was playing bad game 1. I think the first game was actually kind of free. And Pedro was on Xin Zhao. And you're meant to get vision together, you know. Like the Xin Zhao's meant to face check for you. But this guy was playing like Lulu first game. And Prods, in my opinion, was a bit of a victim. Because like all of you guys at IDL shit on Prods all the time. But if you know the stories and you see the details, he's actually kind of a victim, bro. Because like you can't get vision as a mage without the tank face tanking.
I agree.
And like my top laner or my jungler or my mid laner will just like fucking sit back and like, and then he got really impatient one time. He's like, oh my fucking god. So he just went in and face checked and then died. And then everyone's like, oh my god, this Heimerdinger, it's so fucking
that's the thing here. Yeah, there's some situations.
But he's just
like
getting inted, bro.
When we look like at laning phase, which is very important for supports like Ashe. When Smiley and Pro Delta played Kalista Ashe, they lost the lane level 1 for I think was Senna and Tankench or something like that. Dude, it's impossible to lose this lane. Like, and then you see this guy doesn't know how to play Ashe.
No, but he can. Okay, thing is, he smurfed on Ashe in scrims too.
Okay. Okay.
Bro, our win rate on Kalista, Ashe and stuff is like 80%. Like, no, but it was not...
Is it nerfs? Is it nerfs? Maybe?
No, it's not.
Being
like,
in a position where you have to aggro so much in lane. Like, you see, for instance, the sports in Korea playing this kind of thing. Dude, they just win the game level 1.
The thing is... Stardust messaged me the other day and he was telling me you have to compromise in Brazil.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Thing is, I'm a hard ass. Like I'm stubborn as shit, you know. Like I won't accept it. It's the same. Okay, the LFL topic's the same topic, so I'll like cover it in one go. Basically, the thing that triggers me the most is when people say this is Brazil in a bad way.
Okay.
I talked to you about it before the podcast. Triggers me so fucking hard because for me, if I say this is Brazil and I'm working in Brazil, I want to say it with pride.
Yeah.
I want to say
a
this
positive team.
This is Brazil and we're gonna work fucking hard and we are hard workers. We're humble. We're self-critical. This is what I want. We never give up. This is what I want. You know. So like, when I called players shit, it's kind of like the mindset I want to take when I work in Brazil with Brazilians, and that's what I want the Brazilians around me to play like as well. Right?
Okay.
Because let's be real, compared to the Chinese and Koreans, they are way better than us. That's you can't deny that, right? So if you're a competitor, you want to aim for that. And it's kind of the same with the Kalista pick, because Stardust was saying, listen, it's kind of not possible.
You gotta hear me out, bro.
You gotta hear me out. Yeah, I've been there.
I'm 1 year ahead of you, you know? I'm 1 year ahead of you. You are me of the past.
He messaged me, he said, oh, you remind me of when I was in Lost. And I was like...
You're so naive.
But dude, Lost is like so similar because they came, like the team was new, just like you. And then they came in 3rd place. They went 2-3 to Pain Gaming.
No, 4th. You came 4th, no?
We finished 3rd.
Third? Okay.
Yeah, because they did 2-3 against Pain Gaming. And then they decided to like change the whole team, and Ranger went to play support.
Yeah.
But
I was the best.
you guys
No,
were
you weren't.
very similar.
I was.
You're really bad at support.
No, I was really good.
No, you're really bad.
I used to win every lane.
You was
No.
good at laning, but bad at support.
Yeah, but you were so
Oh,
boosted.
my team was shit.
No, you're.
How can I get vision if my jungle don't come with me? It's the same.
No, his jungle is not space checking for him.
No,
Yeah,
way,
it's not him that is bad. It's this. He's a victim. No, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, back
Okay,
on
okay.
topic. So about the Ashe, it's kind of like I don't want to make. I want to push my players to be the best version of themselves, and I think that's a part of my job, right? Is that yours? That's yours. I want to make sure, like, I want them to be the best version of themselves, and I want to push and push and push, and I want to have this growth mindset, because I really believe that results come with the practice and results come with the process. And it was such a statistical anomaly. That's how good it was. Like, if it's like a 50 or 60% win rate, it's whatever. But it's like fucking 84%, 85%. So I'm like, fuck it. Even if they get nerfed 15%, it's still good. You know?
Okay.
And then they do everything wrong, and then they die, and I'm like, oh my fuck.
The Hammer or the Kalista Ashe?
Both.
Both? Yeah, but for a BO5, don't you think that this is something that you should save for a little later when the players are warmed up?
No. I think it's best for in the first game. Like if you want to do something crazy, the first game is great. The first game or the game just after you won a game.
Yes, but it depends on your team. So I had the wrong read. That's why I feel like I fucked up a lot in the Pen Gaming series. Like, I was unbelievably boosted. Like, I misread my team. So like, I thought there are some teams where you want to play aggressive game one, and then after you lose, you go back to your conservative comfort.
Okay.
And there are some teams where you need to play comfort straight away, secure a win, and then let them play with confidence. For me, it was the other way around. So I did everything wrong in the Pain series. I like locked in Heimerdinger like 2 times, then got 0-2'd, and then actually in game 5, okay, listen, listen, bro. I wanted to open Kalista because I knew they would pick Kalista 100%. And play Cogmore into it.
Yeah.
But then Smiley was like, oh, no, like, don't give them comfort. So I changed my plan last second, and then I forgot about Jinx.
Oh.
Then you blind Cogmore.
Yeah, because we were thinking, okay, there's no 80 carries left. But we changed it. We changed the draft like literally last second.
Okay.
So I did everything wrong, and I forgot Maokai that series too. It was unbelievable. I was like so stupid.
So you give them all their comfort.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just trolled. But then but against Pain, we did the other way around. You know, we had all comfort champions. We had Kai'Sa, and then we had, I don't remember.
Yeah. But do you feel like playing against
Except
Pain,
Javan.
what I felt from the outside is that you guys felt the urge to shut down their bot lane. Is it true?
No, I just think it's a good way to play against them.
Like having pressure.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think that both games were really free.
Mm-hmm.
Like, both games are really free. I think game 2, they played with a lot more energy and attitude, like Pain, because they got confidence off the first game, right? This is just how Pain is as well. So they played better. But even then, we were in the position where we could take the dragon for free. We had river control. Xayah was disconnected. He was on mid lane. It was free. And then Kai'Sa dived into the Zia, and then history happened, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, my mistake that series was Bobbers, so Decimus wasn't comfortable on Jarvan. I told him to practice in solo queue, and we played it all week. But he didn't get that many scrim games on it, and we got fake confidence from the day before.
Yeah, Jarvan is too much different. Like, is way different in.
Yeah, but I'm a European, so I really love Jarvan, you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, but he plays Jarvan kinda wrong. He played well one time, I think.
What do you see like is so great about Jarvan? Because we don't actually like the champion very much. Like, Baiano actually hates it.
No, but in that game, so Jarvan's a champion that plays really well in 2 turns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you can flash ult in and EQ out.
And
Yeah.
come back to the flag.
Yeah, and then come back and etc. Right?
Yeah.
So basically, Jarvan is really good versus Xayah, because when Xayah ulties, he can't leave the cage.
Yeah.
So if you flash ult 1 turn and EQ out, you can multi-knock up multiple people. Then Rel can follow up after Xayah ulted in the 2nd turn. Then Xayah will pull the feathers back, and then Kai'Sa can zoom in. Or Kai'Sa can zoom in early, and he can play mind games. So it's like actually a really hard game for Xayah to play. It's easy for Azir, but I knew that they would play Azir tank. So this Azir is not a hard carry. right? The Seel is actually not gonna like destroy your team. He's gonna be a bruiser, right? So if we deal with Zaya, we should win the fight. But we played really poorly in 2 turns.
Yeah,
We just played in 1 turn. We just ran into the feathers and died, you know.
And not even the feathers. You were engaging Azir most of the time.
yeah.
And Vi as well. Into Vi, it was. So then when I realized, okay, we're not playing well in 2 turns, then I picked Misfortune, because Misfortune you can play in 1 turn into the Zaya. I didn't want to pick Misfortune that series because we had a very poor performance the day before against Red, where we like face tanked the Rek'Sai and stuff like that, and I really wanted to like boost confidence and play Comfort, but I kind of was forced to make that adaptation game free, and then the swap worked really well. So okay, we're confident. Let's play game 4, and then we didn't swap. So
yeah, it is what it is, man. Just focus on the next split. Like remember that.
That's all I can
do. Make your players remember most of the things that they learned this split, so you can start. You don't start from the zero
That's
ground.
the hard part.
In the next split. You know, I think that's the most important thing. Because if you start the next split like in this level that you're already, you're gonna have a great one.
Yeah,
you know.
But that's the challenge, I think, because I don't know why, but Brazilian players, they just forget things and you have to start over.
But that's it. Let's get into Pain versus Loud. So I want to know what's your score you think it's going to be on Pain versus Loud, and how do you think it's going to be played out? How do you see both teams, what they need to succeed, like this kind of things?
I mean, to be honest, both teams, in my opinion, are star-studded. Like they're full of stars in Brazil, at least. I think they all have the top players of their roles. But it really depends on how Titan is feeling, in my opinion. In my opinion, Titan versus us, he didn't play well.
Yeah.
The reason I gave him Zaya 3 games in a row, or 4 games in a row or something, is because I didn't think he was carrying games. It was not him. We lost to ourselves the game 1. We like just smashed our head on the table. We had a huge lead, and then we just gave them Baron for fun. But if he turns up, he can solo carry a series. I think Dinkieta also can be very explosive. Not in lane, but like in mid game, he has angles where he can carry games. I think people shit on him, but I think he's a good player for sure. I think he's a very good player. But I would always favor Lat, even though I'm friends with Titan, because I'm also friends with Croc. That's one, but 2,
cool guy.
Yeah, we're very good friends, and we have a lot of respect for each other. And he helped me when I was in a really shit spot, actually. But I think Loud know how to play 3 lanes. That's the difference. They know how to play side better. And I think Pain is a bit lost on the map in general. That's how I felt. Like even last year, I feel like they were a bit... Like every year I watch Pain play, I think they're a bit lost on the map.
They're a bit too slow, no?
Yeah, slow with everything. It's like watching 2017 League of Legends. Like everything's so fucking slow.
Yeah.
And they're so afraid of risk, and I think they don't know how to like push side and get leads. And I think Robbo and Tin solo carry that in that team. So that alone is enough to get you wins. That's how VKS got to the level that they are, you know. And it's not easy knowing all the details behind side lanes, but I think they know the details behind side lanes. So I think probably 3-1 Loud. Back from what we were talking about was basically I think Pain need to win early. They need to win early, and they need to win explosively. I think the problem with Loud is their laning in general. I think Robbo is like lacks a lot of stability, and I think he doesn't push limits in the right way. I think Tinones is like the most stable one in the team, but he doesn't get leads when he should. I think he has like 2 issues. Like
he doesn't risk.
He should be more aggressive on mages, and he should know how, like. And I think he doesn't play AD champs well.
Yeah.
Like when I saw his Zed in Korea, it was not Zed, Jace in Korea, it was really bad.
Yeah, he doesn't play. He won't play AD champs.
And in bot lane, I think Root and Redbird. I think Root is a bit of a victim. Sorry, Redbird, you're a cool guy, but I think in lane, it's really unbelievable, some of the things I've seen. I mean, my team as well, to be fair. My team as well, okay? Yeah. Not shit talking Loud or Pain, my team as well.
Okay.
We just lost. Yeah, we just lost. No, not this is Brazil.
Listen, want to trigger him?
We can be better. We can improve. So, like, I think they can get that lead and snowball. Because when they have a lead, I think Pain still know how to kind of close out the game in most situations, you know? As long as they fix the closing out part, because they got to lead every game into Loud, right? In the
Yeah.
series.
But Croc was having a bad day.
He was having
Yeah.
a bad day,
Yeah.
and also if Pain Gaming started the game winning, like they can win. They won't necessarily
they
win.
win.
Yeah,
But the-
they
but the
won't
reason-
necessarily win. But if Loud starts winning, it's over.
Yeah,
dude.
it's over
They're
for them.
gonna ran it.
But that's the reason. That's the reason why Pain is like struggling to close games. They don't know how to play the map, in my opinion.
I think so too. They're
As
too
much
slow.
as I thought, and I think Titas knows about the map, but he doesn't call it the same in game. It's different.
Yeah, and he's
But
an
I
AD
don't know-
carry.
but I don't
think it's
know-
harder to do that as an
Honestly,
AD carry.
I really think people have a great misconception about Titan.
Yeah.
He's not so. I don't know how to phrase it in
Knowledgeable.
English. Yeah, he's not so knowledgeable about the game as people think.
Really?
And no, I think he understands a lot about, especially like skirmishes and individual situations, but not about the map as a whole and everybody roles when it comes down to objectives, controls, and things like that. I think that his specialty is about fights. I played with him for many years.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, when I talked to him, he seemed fine.
No,
knowledgeable.
yeah, but people expect him to carry and lead the team and say what everybody has to do. But
savior.
yeah, but he's not that kind of player. Especially as an AD carry, I think that's impossible to achieve.
I think that's what I was saying about Smiley, you know?
Yeah.
Even if he knows in the game, you have to click so fucking much. Like, you can't
Yeah.
actually do this,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
You can't do
messes
this.
up.
From my own experience, I have to drop Lee Sin from my pool because I have to micromanage everybody in the fight and I can't think for myself. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to find this flank, I need to do this and that, and I need to focus on his might and also on my, this guy needs to tank it, this guy...
But that's where I also disagree. Like, I think everyone in the team fight needs to know their individual roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the part that Gigo was talking about, and people were giving him shit, but he's not wrong. Like, I said set up first because it is true. If you're in a good position, it's easier to make decisions. So that's number one. But after you're in that position, if you don't know how to do things individually, it's really bad. And that's what we did, you know. We were in situations where I think if Loud was playing versus Pain in the same games, they would know how to... They would still have the discipline inside the game to push sides and stall the game out and find good positions and end the game, you know.
Yeah,
But
for
we
sure.
we just like headbutt ourselves on the table, even though we know how to play, because it's like experience and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff, right? Like even Loud, I believe in their first year, they didn't win straight away.
No.
Oh,
Like-
but
They have to change roster.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a different roster.
Yeah.
Very different. Yeah,
Yeah.
They started winning when they got Robo and Team.
No. It was
No, they
fuck.
didn't. No, but even
The first time with Hobo and Ting, they
they
lost.
still lost.
Oh,
Even with and for me, Robo and Tina are the guys to beat in Brazil.
Yeah, it was.
And they still lost.
Quando tava revezando.
Não era o meu que era o Tai Jungle.
Yeah.
Tai, and then he went to
Tai
Milko.
and Dudes. Era Dudes,
Yeah.
Cells, Chinos, Tai e Robô. They don't even make playoffs.
Yeah,
But
and
it was before it was Dinkedo, Tai top. Oh, then they swapped
But
Tai to
even-
jungle,
even-
put Robo in, Tin in. Yeah.
but even with that roster, they couldn't. You know, it's like just experience, I guess. You know, I think next split we'll step it up. But yeah, Loud Pain, I think it's definitely a Loud favorite.
Okay.
But what I always worried about in Brazil is like, I mean, you said that you scrimmed against us in 2022, right? The
Yeah.
game is over in 6 minutes.
Yeah, always against good teams.
Like when I was in Rogue and I was teaching Rogue, if I teach the matchup plays out the way it should. So when we played versus the EU Masters champion, which is above the LFL champion, which is, so it's like the champion of Academy, they're really good. They would beat most teams in LEC. The champion, when we were champion, we'd beat them in 6 minutes. It'd be a 3, 4, 5K goal lead in 6 minutes. So we played like 7 games against the EU Master champion in like 2 hours. That's how big the gap
Yeah,
is, you
the
know?
gap is
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
huge.
So like people don't realize how big the gap actually is, and if we go international and we play versus these teams, like how do you win? Because they don't make the mistakes that we do here, so they close the game out with the lead they get in lane.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about, Loud, because they can win domestically, you know, and it's so hard to improve here too.
No, I gave up on expectations.
But that's
for-
why I'm doing this academy shit.
Yeah.
I work academy. I was working academy at least once, twice a week, because we can 2v2 internally. We had really good scrims in playoffs. Just scrimming. We refused to scrim against the top teams because our academy team was better for practice.
I don't know, man.
Because you can control the environment, right?
Yeah, and I could pre-plan the draft for what we thought we were going to play on the day, right? Because against enemy teams, say I'm screaming loud, I can't tell them what to play, right? We would pre-plan what loud would play, and we'd play against it, for example.
Yeah, but it's more complex than that, right? Like we play way less games. We are not as mechanically as gifted. Like for instance,
we changed that.
Yeah, we can change that, and we can like make it better.
That we change it internally at Cade. We play 13 games a day.
Yeah, but this change takes 3 to 4 years at least.
Yeah, and you change it now. It don't make them better than the LSK players, you know?
That's what I thought, but in my opinion, I think Brazil is such a talented country at games.
I know.
Like, look at FPS, you know? So there's no reason why we can't do it in MOBA?
That's what I was going to talk about. Like, when we were born, like, every kid in Brazil basically, like, played Counter-Strike in the LAN houses, which was PC banks. Koreans were playing StarCraft. StarCraft is basically League of Legends, but harder. You know, they were born with playing RTS games, which are much more similar to the style that we play nowadays. Yeah. And then Counter-Strike and other FPS games such as Valorant, we also have this thing because, dude, we play that since kids.
But the point I'm trying to get at is, I think there are still people like that play League since a pretty young age. You know, and I expected this project to be way slower, right? But our academy team win rate against our CBLOL team is like 50. It's like 47%.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And of course, I think CBLOL doesn't play as try hard, and this is a mentality thing that we had to really work on. Like realistically, it's probably like 65-35 or 60-40. That's still really fucking good because most of the teams we scrim against CBLOL, the only teams that we don't have a 50% win rate against is Loud and Pain. Every other team, we either stomp or we're doing really well, right? So when we play spam these drafts, we don't waste time drafting because I'll pre-plan the draft. So we just go blind pick and just lock in the champs and play. And we don't have variance, and we can play 2v2 internally. There's so many things you can do, right?
And the feedback goes for both teams, so
Yeah, but I think and I also build the system in the academy, you know, how they should be doing feedback, how they should be playing the game. Everything. So they play similar to how I think good teams should play.
Nice. Man, that was great, honestly. Like hearing all about it, like everything since Europe and then Brazil. Honestly, I still feel like you are doing a good job, like with the casing. Like we all do.
Yeah.
We feel like it's going towards the right direction.
Tá pago.
just keep going, and you know, just keep try harding. Just keep giving your best, and I think it's gonna be great. Do you have any finishing words?
Oh yeah.
For the people, do you want to like look at the camera there and talk
Ask
with
them to buy more shirts.
Yeah, buy more shirts. I don't have a discount code for you today, but yeah, buy more shirts. To be honest, today I was a bit melted. Like I'm trying really hard to talk and stuff, but I'm like mega melted from yesterday. One
day after the
I'm
loss.
like
you're a hero for being here. So
but I had a good time, and thanks for supporting both the podcast because you guys are cool and Cade Stars, and I hope to not let you guys down next split.
Ok.
Let's go.
Rapaziada, espero que tenham gostado aí também. Eu e o Gold aqui, a gente também deu o nosso melhor, porque a gente já tinha gravado um episódio hoje, já tá meio tarde, a gente pode estar um pouco cansado. Ainda teve que gastar o inglês aí, que a gente não usa tanto, né?
Verdade.
Mas, mano, espero que tenham gostado. Eu acho que foi muito foda pra gente pegar um insight de um gringo que chega aqui no país, e ainda mais ele que tá querendo nessa mentalidade de mudar e fazer uma coisa melhor. É um projeto realmente, verdadeiramente de longo prazo. Então, só agradecer a todo mundo que assistiu aí. Muito obrigado. E o Depois do Crime, ele volta no próximo split. Ou será que antes? Não sei. Tchau!